this is Crystal, and I'm off to Shambhala here on YouTube, and this is finally an episode of Reseller Shop Talk. And I used to actually have, well, I don't know if I would even really call it a shop, but I had an actual retail commercial location where I was doing my business out of, but I am now back at home. And it wasn't so much, the reason that I moved, it wasn't so much that I felt like it was 100% bad idea to have the shop, because it was an extremely good deal. The rent was $400 a month. I had plenty of room to grow. It was actually only like 600 square feet, but it was like more than what I needed at the time I was in it, like with room to grow. But the reason I got it was for two reasons. Well, three reasons really. A, to get everything out of the house. B, let's say there's four reasons. So I can focus better while I was working, which I did. And then also I wanted to have people bring me things to sell, where I could buy things, like a resale shop, but without actually having a retail shopping floor, like just have a buying counter basically. And I did do that, and I didn't get into it too deep because technically you're supposed to have a license, and it differs in different cities and stuff, but I know for a fact that I need to have a license in my area, and I just tried it out just to see what kind of response I would get while I was there. And I just put out like one or two Craigslist ads. I think I put out two Craigslist ads when I first moved in, or when I, decided I was going to start trying that. And I had a couple people come in and bring me some stuff. And I'm sure that had I wanted to promote that more, I would have had no problem getting people bringing me stuff. But the reason that I didn't continue with that is because I really didn't have the bankroll to, be able to buy stuff. And I really needed to always have $200 on hand to buy stuff from people that bring me stuff. And certainly if somebody brought me stuff that would have been fair for me to pay more than $200 for it all at once, I would just have to turn it down or propose some kind of a consignment deal. That was my plan. But I'll get into, I don't know if it was really excuses or life. I think maybe a little bit of both. But as soon as I quit my job, I pretty much went full-time with reselling. It was either the end of, I think it was the end of March was, or mid-March, let's just say mid-March of 2016. I'd have to really look. I decided to go full-time. I was working at Costco and part-time, and I just felt like I was being pulled in too many directions. And I knew that I could make money on eBay. Like I knew I could at least make a little more than what I was making part-time in my part-time job, even with the rent that I was paying and the electricity. And that was pretty much other than the gas to get there. And if you equate time with money, maybe an extra hour to an hour and a half worth of driving that I was doing every day to get there. The electricity and the rent, it was probably costing me, I would say, $600 a month to have the space. And I felt like that was a fair amount. It wasn't like such a huge amount that it was risky for me to go ahead and say, you know what, I'm gonna, I'm making enough money to pay for this, and plus a little, and I just need to work a little harder and get my sales up, and I'll get there eventually. Well, as soon as I quit my job, it was like monkey wrench after monkey wrench for me. And without going into details, and I just couldn't take it anymore by the end of the summer. Probably there was a couple things that were sort of more personally devastating for me, um, but technically don't really affect your business except for that it's like just this personal devastation kind of situation. You know, like your boyfriend, your husband of 20 years is cheating on you and leaving you for another woman, and you have 3 children under the age of 10 or something. You know, that kind of thing. Like, that just would be devastating. Like, that could, you know, cause somebody to, like, not function very well for at least a couple weeks. Like, but, I mean, it was probably not quite that devastating, but, you know, it's up there for me. Like, you know, the things that are really important to you in your personal life, like, if they go awry, like, it just can't help but hurt you. So, I mean, and that wasn't really like a big thing that interfered with my ability to function, but there was probably a good 5 days or so where I just really was not productive at all because of all of that. And maybe even a little more. And there was really no reason for me to be like that, but you know, sometimes you just need to do that. And when you're doing your own business like this, and especially like right now, I just, you know, I shouldn't have done it. I shouldn't have taken that time. I should have just said, you know what, I'm only going to allow myself to be upset over this for like half an hour, and then I got to move on and keep going like nothing ever happened. And normally that's what I do whenever anything that bothers me happens in my life. But there were just a few dark days. So, and then of course there's other normal things in life. I just, you know how you're supposed to have emergency fund money or Murphy money or whatever you want to call it. And I was always in a position where if something that was going to cost maybe $500 to $1,000, I could probably, you know, deal with it. Let's just say. Well, I kept having all of these things happen one after another, and then the air conditioner in my house went out. I don't even remember if I talked about this in one of my last episodes. I know I made an episode, but I just canceled the whole thing because all it was me whining. And I'm like, nobody wants to listen to me whine about stuff. Yeah, so the AC went out in my house at the beginning of the summer, and the AC in my car wasn't working. So I was having, I live in Phoenix, which is like the hottest place in America in the summertime. And I mean, there's other places too that are just as hot, like Vegas. Technically, I think Bullhead City, Arizona, holds the record for like super hot temperatures. Like they always have like the highest temperatures. I don't know what it is about Bullhead City, but it's freaking hot there. Anyways, so it was pretty torturous. I mean, and the AC was out in my house for like about 2 months, and I had some of those, what do you call them, those battery operated candles. I know there's another name for them, and they're technically made out of wax. And I didn't think about, you know, maybe I should put the candles in the refrigerator or something. Like I put my oils in the refrigerator, or things that there was like some applesauce in a jar that you could keep in the pantry under normal circumstances. I like put that in the refrigerator, you know, things that I thought needed to at least be kept in the refrigerator. I just moved them over. But my candles, they all like sort of melted, and they're all sort of like just melting. And they're like up on like my cupboards, up above my cupboards in my kitchen, and I didn't notice them right away until about like maybe a couple weeks after I got the AC back on and was back in the house, you know. And I looked up, I'm like, oh my god, my candles melted. That's how hot it is here in Phoenix. Like, stuff in your house will melt if you do not have air conditioning. Anyways, yeah, so it was just very challenging to just, you know, and then I would like get to the office and I'd be dying. You know, it would take me like 45 minutes to just sort of get my mind together again. And I'm sure, you know what, if I had a boss, this is where it's really important to be like disciplined. If you're like an entrepreneur, you have to push yourself like there's a boss standing over you. I mean, certainly, you know, had I been working at Costco, I would have got there. I would have been like, okay, give me a minute. And I would have taken a minute and everybody would have been cool. But I need to get right back to work. And I would have been sweating and dying the whole time. And then at the end of the day, I would have been like, oh my God. But, like I could only imagine, especially at my old job, it was so exhausting. But yeah, so I just wasn't functioning at full capacity all summer, let's just say. And then all of the expenses go up too. Well, it's the electric expenses go up. So on top of having to pay, I had to pay out. I ended up spending 18 plus 5. Well, let's just say I spent $1,800 on the AC. My dad gave me $500, so it would have been more. 18 plus 5. And that was including buying one of those little units that you put in the window. But it really, and it was one of those kinds with the hose that goes to the window, like a portable one, not one of those ones that you that sit in the window. It worked okay enough, but it, you know, I had it in a small bedroom, and so it was sort of like when I was in the house, like I would be at home, I would do a load of laundry, and then I'd run and I would sit in the room, and you could only, it really didn't keep the room cool because it would actually give off heat, like the hose itself, they would still like give off heat. And then if you stood up and when you were standing, like you could feel how hot the air was. So it wasn't like you could even move around in there. Like, you know, it was like you had to sit right in front of the AC. That was it. That was the only way you could handle being in the house, you know. So I would like run and go do some laundry, come back, and like I'd be sitting in front of the AC folding my laundry, or I'd run to the kitchen and put something in the microwave, or just grab something out of the fridge and come right back and sit right there in front of the AC. And you could sleep too, you know, as long as that AC thing was on you. But you really couldn't do, just really, no, it was awful. So that was one of my big challenges for the summer, and I had to come up with a bunch of money. And actually, I'm still not, I still owe money to the AC guy. Luckily, we found an AC guy that would let me pay him, and I owe him about $600 actually. So I haven't even paid the whole $1,800, but that's how much it's going to cost me in the end. But I had tons of other stuff between March and the AC going out that was like breaking. And so I have called, this year is the year of the monkey, apparently. For me, it's the year of the monkey wrench. And so even after I moved my stuff back to my house, I had more stuff break. Like my favorite monitor, my really nice monitor, I can't get the freaking thing to turn on. One of my lamps, one of my photography lamps, I can't get a light bulb in it. The moving guys like took the light bulb out, and I don't know if there's something happened with the threading or what inside of it, but you can't get a light bulb in it, and you can't get it to turn on. So it's just like one of my photography lamps just is out of commission. What else broke? My scale. Like it jumps around. Like you go to weigh something and it jumps around like between 6 ounces, or no, like 0.01 like 0.06 ounces or whatever. Like it'll be like, okay, the thing weighs 11.2 ounces, and then it'll go to like 12.1 ounce, and it sort of jumps back and forth. And I'm like, so now I'm like, okay, well, I'm just always putting everything like 1 ounce heavier than what it might be. unbelievable. So I need to get a new scale. And before I even moved, I had ordered another scale because I had like 2 rooms, and I'm like, I need to have a scale in each room in my office. And I'm like, I'm just gonna order a scale because it just takes too long if you need to weigh something. It's just whatever for $15 or whatever it was. I just ordered a super cheap one, and I got that, and the freaking thing wouldn't work. I don't know what it is. Then I sold a keyboard. My son had this really nice keyboard, actually, which they're not selling for huge amounts of money. Like, you could probably get maybe $20 shipped for these keyboards, and they're supposed to like work with video games and stuff. Like, they have like all this extra stuff on them. And my son loved it when he had it. He was like, that's the most awesome keyboard. But he got one of those cool ones that lights up in blue, you know. So I just had this keyboard laying around, and I'm like, I got like this keyboard, and I got 2 other keyboards laying around, and those other keyboards are definitely not worth selling, but they're nice to have just in case you need a keyboard. And, you know, your emergency backup keyboards. And so I'm keeping those cheap ones. Actually, I think I'm only keeping one of them because, really, seriously. So I'm like, okay, should I donate this or should I go ahead and try to sell it? I'm like, yeah, you know what? Maybe after shipping, I'm probably going to make $5 or $6 on this thing, and it's not going to be that hard to ship, and I got a good box for it. And so I shipped that thing out, and the guy's like, it doesn't work. And I really don't think he was trying to scam me or he was lying to me. He goes, it worked at first, but then after an hour, it wouldn't work or something. And I'm like, I go, you know what? I don't doubt this. And I told him the story, a much shorter version about how everything's breaking. And I go, what happened is I touched it. That's what I told him. And he was a good sport, and I just gave him a discount or whatever, a refund. But it was a bummer because I blew like $8 on shipping or something for that stupid thing. What a waste. Anyways, and I've had a lot of shipping blunders. So that's all the bad news. So now that we're done with all bad news, let's go on to all the cool stuff. Did I have any? Yeah, pretty much everything else I wanted to talk about is good stuff. So, anyways, I guess my whole point of that is then Gildaddy puts up this video that really I don't know what it is about Gildaddy. We're graduating to water cooler gossip, and Gildaddy just always has to come up because I don't know what it is about that guy. I told him, I sent him a message. I'm like, you really need to be like one of those inspirational speakers because there's just something about you that just is motivating. Like, just on top of that, he gives good advice specifically about selling on eBay or any kind of reselling. There's just something about him that is just inspirational. I don't know. He makes me like, sometimes like last week I started off every morning listening to his latest video where he's like basically, saying, just get her done. It's your take responsibility. Like all that shit. Get shit listed every day. Just do it. That whole whatever. And I feel motivated. I feel like, yeah, Gildaddy. And his channel is the one that really got me started. And I'm like, oh my God, I did a lot of the stuff that they said, and stuff was selling. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is great. And so I'm so happy I did because I'm very committed to being either an eBay seller for the rest of my life or some kind of a reseller or getting into doing private labeling like Gildaddy did. I want to be some kind of online resale entrepreneur. But I do love the resale business. So I don't know. I mean, if I can find some kind of private label item, great. And I do have something in mind already. Okay, so, oh yeah, but I guess he's been talking about that in his last couple videos, actually, about making excuses. Like, it's your fault that you're not making the money. And I'm like, yeah, it really is. And I don't feel like I make excuses, but and I feel like I am one of those kind of people that always takes responsibility, and I do say it's up to me. Like, I realize that logically, consciously, but there's still, you fall into these excuse traps. And I think I am doing that. So it's just a good reminder, even if you're one of those kind of people who's pretty good at pushing yourself and you're not always looking for excuses and blaming everything for your lack of success. It just really, you gotta start recognizing when you are making excuses. But at the same time, I'm sorry, there are times when just your house is on fire and everything gets destroyed and you gotta start all over again. There are times that you get knocked down and or whatever. I mean, that happens, but you got to be prepared for that. You got to be prepared for the worst but expect the best. So anyways, I guess the straw that broke the camel's back regarding me finally making the decision to move back to my house is that I mean, I was down to I owe $3,000 in stuff because of stuff that got broken down, and I've used up all my cash, and I just, then my car, as I was getting closer to being able to have the AC fixed at my house, I was actually going to wait like another month to get my AC fixed because I wanted to have all the cash to pay for it rather than do this debt deal. But the transmission in my car was slipping, and my office is like 30 miles away from my house, and I looked to see how long it takes to get there on the bus, and it's like 2 hours on the bus to get from my house, which is like a half an hour in the car. That's 20 minutes to 45 minutes in the car. Really bad traffic, you're looking at least 45 minutes. Like 0 to very little traffic, 20 minutes, and then normal everyday traffic is usually about 30 minutes to get from my house to my office. So, and I was like, yeah, I mean, I guess I could have stuff ready to go and be sitting on the bus and doing listing, and but I'm like, no, I need to just get all my stuff back home, because if my transmission goes out, after all of the monkey wrenches I've had to deal with, even if I could get the transmission fixed for $1,500, or I could get another car and have payments on it or something, it's still just, I just knew that I would not just be able to get it. It would take me a month or 2 months, and more than likely like 4 or 5 months to be able to replace it. And the thing with, or to either replace it or get it fixed. I mean, it could, best case scenario, a month, month and a half. Worst case scenario, 4, maybe even 6 months. And I could live where I live now and do eBay without a car. I thought about it. It would kind of suck, but it wouldn't be as bad as this freaking summer, I'll tell you right now. In fact, one of these, I'm thinking next week, well, no, not next week, because I want to get a bicycle, and I don't have a bicycle. So maybe next month I'll get a bicycle, because I want to have a bicycle as like my backup vehicle. And I may even use it to go to the post office every day just for exercise and whatever, just so I'm used to it if I have to. Cut down on gas, even though it's hardly anything because it's like half a mile to the post office from my house. But I mean, the beautiful thing about where I live is that everything I need is a mile away or shorter for A, running my eBay business, or B, going to the grocery store or anything that I might need to get or acquire. There's hardly anything that I need to acquire that is over a mile away from my house. like that I actually really, 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 really need. So, and then I would just have like boundaries, like, okay, I go to, there's a Savers that's maybe 3 miles away that I would probably be willing to ride my bike to at least once a week, because I always get good stuff there. And, but I would probably go up to the Goodwill a couple times a week, and then I would do garage sales in my immediate neighborhood, because we're coming up on garage sale season in Phoenix. And so, I mean, there's just no reason, like, I could potentially never go more than a mile, except for maybe, or maybe I could get somebody to give me a ride once a week up to Savers and go shopping up there, or something, you know. And then every day to go to the post office, it's like a half a mile away, if even that. I don't even think it's that far. I mean, I could literally walk to it. It'd be a little bit of a walk, but I mean, it's the kind of walk like most people would just let their kids walk that far to school. Like, it's like walking to school, like, and it's not 3 miles in the snow to get to school kind of a walk. It's like they wouldn't even have a bus service if your kid was going to a school where that is. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they wouldn't even have buses, like, it's so close. I was like, no, we're not busing kids from there. What, are you kidding? Like, there's no reason you couldn't even walk. I just need to get a cart and walk to the post office. The only problem would be sourcing, which it would be, you know, I'd really need to have a bike with a decent, and I would get like this cart for the back of it that I could, you know, put a substantial amount of things in. And I do a lot of clothing, so like I could go and load up on a lot of clothing and littles and put them in there. But if I happen to find something kind of big, I could, you know, those carts that you put on the back of the bike, and then I have a basket on the front too, and probably a backpack. Like, I could be like a homeless person or something. But no, and I found this really cool bike that I love. It's all aqua, and it's not Trek brand, but Trek owns the brand, and it's like $400, and I'm like, yeah, that's the bike I want. And I told my brothers, like, oh, well, you can go get those bikes for like $130 at Walmart or whatever. I'm like, yeah, and then 3 months down the road, the pedal falls off and shit, and I don't have time to deal with that. Like, I want something that works. He's like, yeah, you're right, because I know we helped my mother-in-law. He helped her pick out like a good quality bike, and she's had it for like 15 years and rides it all the time, and she's never had anything break on it. And I'm like, yeah, I can't tell you how many of those cheapo bikes that I've either bought for myself or the kids, and 3 or 4 months later, everything's freaking breaking on it. It's like, just, it's a waste of money as far as I'm concerned. Anyways, plus the Trek place, they like will fix it if something does break. Like, I can just take it down there and be like, what do you guys do for this? You know what I mean? Like, and they're like handy people that are like all into bikes, and they'll fix it, and they'll use like quality stuff, theoretically. Whereas like Walmart doesn't have like a fix-it shop for bikes, you know, like. I mean, I suppose you could take your Walmart bike to the truck shop and have the guys fix it. They probably would. But if you buy one there, they probably give you better service. I don't know. I didn't really get that far into it with them. But so that's my plan. And then, so I was thinking that it would be fun to do like an experiment for like a whole week to see what it's like to do eBay without a car. And my house just happens to be in a really great location for having all of that stuff convenient. And FedEx office is really close too. So, and then also the grocery store I shop at, they always have like good stuff on their clearance rack. Like, at least, I don't know, every couple months or something, I'll find a few things on there that I can resell. Okay. So, yeah, so I talked about Gildaddy. Oh, yeah, and I wanted to say congratulations to Nichole State. She just did a talk about how she's been doing reselling full-time for a full year now, and she said she's done over $100,000 gross. And so congratulations. Good job, sister. Now, she's really inspiring. Talk about dedicated and getting her done and all that stuff, and not making excuses, because she's had some challenges along the way too, you know, and she just trucks away. And so yeah, I mean, just congratulations, sister, and you are an inspiration, and you're so lovable. I love watching Nichole and listening to, I love her. In fact, I hope to move to Portland after this summer. I was like, you know, I really want to move to Portland. Like, I don't want to live here anymore. And to tell you the truth, I was interested in moving to Portland many, many, many years ago. And so now that my son is about to graduate high school, and I'm thinking, but I might move to Sedona. So those are like two of my favorite places. And it's not that I hate it here, and I'm not really dying to move, because after having thought about it for so long, I'm like, do I really want to move? Like, I don't know, you know, but boy, in the middle of the summer, I was ready to get the hell out of here, I'll tell you. And I knew that it would, as soon as fall hit, I'd be like, well, I guess it's okay here, and that's exactly what I'm doing. That's what we do all summer long. People that live in Phoenix, or if you live in the desert, you know, all summer long, you're like, why am I living here? And then the fall hits, you're like, it's not so bad. I think everybody does that. So, yeah, anyways, so even if I never move to Portland, I just want to go to Portland and hang out there for a while, and hopefully I can hook up with Nichole. Anyways, okay, let's move on to some of the other stuff I wanted to talk about. And I don't have my normal notes, so I had to just go off memory of what I wanted to talk about and what my categories are. I think also in another video, and I don't remember if I published this one or not, because I erased a bunch of them that I made, because like I said, I was just being a whiny person. But I was thinking I would change the name of my show to something else, but I'm just going to keep it as Reseller Shop Talk. Okay, so just in case somebody heard that and they're actually listening to me and following all my videos. Okay. This is my Finders Keepers item. I actually have a set of 6 of these, and you probably can't even really tell how nice these are. Okay, this is, I mean, I just like them. I think they're classy looking, and I love blue stuff, and but they're not, but I love white and blue. So I saw these, I'm like, oh, white with just a little bit of blue on them, and I like this texture, and they're made by Dance, which is an okay brand, or some things I think are probably better than others, and these aren't particularly valuable, but I think that I think I saw like a set of 6 or something like that sold for $35 or something. I don't remember, but you know, I think there's a market for this particular one. I don't know, I haven't listed them yet. So, I mean, the true test is when you actually, especially on stuff like this, because I don't sell a huge amount of this stuff, so I wouldn't call myself like a super experienced reseller, but I almost always have stuff like this for sale, and I typically sell it. I probably have sold like 80% of the stuff that's whatever dish type things that I listed have sold. I haven't really made huge money on anything, but stuff sells, and it doesn't get returned. And I am able to pack it so it doesn't break. So like that's the one thing I like about this kind of stuff, is people are like, when they want it, they don't return it. Like, it's not like clothing where, oh, you know, I know it said size 9, but they fit more like an 8. I can't tell you how many shoe returns I frickin' had when the shoe is marked like size 8. They're like, it fits more like a 7. I'm like, what the hell? Or advice, whatever. Like, what the hell? Like, why do they even mark them? Why do you even have a size? Anyways, and then electronic stuff like that keyboard, just stuff doesn't work. Like, I test it, I think it works, or I've been using it and it works, and it doesn't freaking work when it gets there. Or I've sold like 5 or 6 CD, DVD players, and then finally I had one and I tested it out and everything, and I shipped it, and the guy's like, it doesn't work. after I shipped it, and because those DVD CD players can get messed up when you ship them, even if they're packed. Like it's just the movement, you have to. There's like certain ones, they have like settings that you put them on for when you move them, and like you got to be aware of that stuff. Ugh. Anyway, so it just sucks because you spend a lot of money on shipping, like on those DVD players and stuff, and then if they don't work, it's like you're out all that money for shipping. So I love selling that stuff because it sells, but then it really sucks. I don't like eating it on the shipping in the end like that. But this kind of stuff, people want it, they want it, and yeah. And now I want to keep this if it doesn't sell, this set. And actually, I probably wouldn't use it too often as coffee cups, but I would use it for when I have parties, and like you could put carrots and celery and stuff in there. And then so if somebody, you know how like if you go to a catered event and it's like they have everything's on its own little dish. It's not like a tray and you pull stuff off of it. They have like separate little dishes. And I've been to parties where the hostess does stuff like that. I'm like, that's so cool to just have everything ready to go. So you just grab it all in the plate. And it's just so cute. And I do like stuff, there's just other things that I do that I know would work really good in these. And it's not that I entertain a lot, but these make me want to just have a party. So anyways, I just love those dishes, and I'm hopeful that they will sell, but if they don't, I'm keeping them. So that's my finders keepers. Okay, and now I want to do a retail arbitrage find, and I'm calling this the most wonderful time of the year haul. So the last couple years, I've gone around looking for slippers for retail arb. And last year, I only found a couple slippers, and the year before that, I got a few more than a couple. And I usually, it's not like I load up on them or anything, but whatever slippers I get always sell at Christmas time. And I don't make huge money on them, but they sell. And I found these really cute slippers. I don't know, can you see them? They're like little princessy kind of slippers, and they come in this nice plastic bag, and they look cute on the bottom, and they're pink, and they're padded. They're Boutique London. And they're actually all selling all over the place on eBay. Like, I saw some of them were going for like $28. I wonder if I should take them out. And I got 2 of these in the pink. Oh yeah, this is great. I'll go right back in. So they're like little, oh, what do you call these? I always call these kind of shoes like Minnie Mouse shoes, because they got like the little open toe, and then they're sort of like, you know, got the big opening, and then of course the bow. They're like Minnie Mouse, pink princess Minnie Mouse slippers, and they're super padded. And I think that I might be able to get at least 20, and I bought them for $8. And I have a special place that I like to buy them at that I seem to always, I'm like, the one place, there's like this one place that always seems to have good prices on slippers. But they don't have a lot of them. And one year Costco had like a really good deal on some really cute slippers, and I just didn't have the money to buy any of them at the time. And but man, I would have loved to have bought like 20 of those slippers. And ever since that one year that they had those really super cute slippers at Costco, it's like now they're all ugly. Like, I don't like them. So here's another pair that I got. And I just think these are so cute too. And these actually have like a little toe. They're like thongs. So, and they're super padded, and they have, oh, they're just so cute. I am not afraid of these not selling. I'm confident these will sell. These are selling. So anyway, so I got 2 of each. So that's kind of nice. And the price was great because I normally pay like $8.99 to $9.99 for these, and then I usually sell them for like $20 with free shipping, and so it's not like in the end I'm making huge amounts of money, but they always sell. So slippers are a good thing to retail arb for the holidays. And if you have money to go deep, go deep. But I don't know, I mean, whatever deep is for you. For me, going deep on slippers would be maybe spending $100. But the problem is finding slippers that are gonna at least make you money. Like and then some of them are just ugly. I'm like, do people really buy these? They look like man slippers, but they're for women. I'm like, do women really like these? Like, ew. I mean, and I don't expect them to be all princessy like this, but I don't know what is going on in the slipper world lately, but they are churning out some ugly slippers. So in that regard, I mean, I guess you could try getting the ugly slippers, but there's just certain styles too. If you're like a style person and you have a good eye, you might want to be careful about getting some of those ugly slippers. Those real manly looking ones. Okay, and I would have bought some of the manly looking ones, but they only had them like in super small sizes. And that's the other thing, you want to get them, that's what you need to start now, looking for slippers, because they are hard to find. And I tried to find slippers after Christmas. I went around and everybody's like, we don't have any slippers in. They're like, every single slipper we had in the store sold over Christmas. So, I mean, slippers is a good Christmas item. Okay. What else did I want to talk about? So, yeah, most wonderful time of the year. So, I'm going to try to, every time I do one of these shows, I am going to talk about things that I think are good for Christmas time. Or scores that I've made or something. Okay, so let's do inside the box. Shipping tip. Now, I haven't watched this video yet, but Deb from Pinching Pesos recently did a video. Actually, I don't even know if it was recent, but I think it's recent because I don't remember ever seeing it before, and I'm pretty familiar with her videos. She talked about putting boxes inside of like a bubble mailer or one of these. Like a priority mailer. So like, let's say you've got something that's a little bit on, like, I don't know, a very, like an expensive VHS tape, or if there are any of those, or, you know, maybe like a DVD set, or even a DVD or a CD that, you know, maybe you sold it for $30. You know, not like a $10 or $15 one, but something, even if you did sell it for that much, if they were, you know, whatever. And you just want to make sure it's protected, or something that would just, you just want to have a box, but you don't want it, but it's like $9.99 to ship it in the priority box. Or you ship it in, oh, this box is too big. I should have checked it. But you know what? There's those other little flat rate boxes. And actually, those might fit. Okay, well, I think you get my point. You can get little boxes and put them in these types of mailers. If the shipping is on priority is going to be higher than the flat rate. If you've got a box that's not flat rate, you could put it inside one of these. And I have done that before, but I didn't do it with one of the other priority boxes. I did it like with another smaller box that I had. But I'll tell you, so anyway, so Jen did a video about that, and I haven't actually watched it yet, but I'm like, oh yeah, I know what she's talking about, and I really want to watch that video. But to see what her little tricks are. But here's one of my little tricks. These priority mail bubble mailers are more expensive. They're like 75 cents or $1 more than the priority mail envelopes. So what I do is, if it fits in one of these, you know, there's a 99% chance it's going to fit in one of these. So you put your item in the bubble mailer, and then if you need a bubble, if it needs to be bubbled, then you put the bubble mailer with the item inside here. So then you pay $1 less. And it usually works. I almost always use these legal sizes. I use this legal size for so many things now. So definitely stock up on these legal sizes for Christmas, or just always have them in stock. And the other thing, or are these the same size? If you happen to be out of these, or you need one that's just a touch bigger, you can use the free eBay ones if you have a store and you get these free eBay ones, which I sometimes do. And I also use these sometimes if I just need a little bit of bubble around something and I don't have bubble wrap. And I don't necessarily want to mail it, or I want to do, I'll use two, I'll wrap an item in one of these and then put it in here and put that inside another, so I'll double bubble it. I've even triple bubbled some things. I'm like, you know what, this isn't padded enough, it needs one more layer. And now that you can get these for free, I am totally not shy about triple bubbling. So yeah, do not be afraid to use those bubbled, and that's the other thing, if you have not ordered these bubble mailers from eBay, get them. Okay, I think that was everything I wanted to talk about on the shipping. So, oh, I know what I wanted to say. So tonight, I didn't get my shipping done by 4. You got to get your stuff in by 4:45. I think if you get it in by 5 o'clock and it fits in the wall bin or whatever, there's a good chance they'll scan it. But technically, you're supposed to get your stuff at the post office by 4:45 to make sure it gets scanned in. So when you're doing shipping and you need to get, keep your time up, and you want to make sure that whatever it gets in time, because you technically have until midnight. So whatever day it is that you're technically supposed to be shipping in order to be top rated. So that's so important, because I lost top rated seller because of my shipping. I haven't been shipping on time. That's the only problem I have. So this month is my goal to do shipping on time every freaking day this month, and hopefully by Christmas I'll be and that represents a good, right now, like $35-40 in savings, if not more, that I'm losing out on, and as my numbers start growing, I want to be top rated seller. So I'm working real hard to get back up there. So tonight, because I missed the 4:30 today because I had a grip ton of stuff to ship. And I have to go to FedEx to print my labels. That's another monkey wrench, which I'm not getting into. But I'm temporarily, for a short time, having to go to FedEx to print my labels. So, and I'm like, I am just not going to make it. And, I mean, I guess I could kill myself and get like 60% of the stuff over to the post office. But I'm like, I still want to get the rest of the stuff on time. So I didn't even bother. I'm like, I'm going down to the main, because they stay open until 9:30. So I had to drive about a half an hour away. It's down by my old office. That was one of the other nice things about having my office. It was real close to the main. So I didn't have to be under the gun to get to the post office by 4:30. Like, I could just run over. I could be like, oh, I'll go later. And it was great in the summertime when it was hot as hell. I'd be like, yeah, I'm not leaving this place till 8:30. When you don't have air conditioning in your car, you want to wait until the sun is down. So, yeah, I'm like, I'll just run over to the main. So that's what I did today. And when I got there, I was like, hey, do you guys happen to have any shipping items that are typically only available online, like those legal flat rate envelopes? She's like, oh yeah, how many do you want? I'm like, 15 or 20, or as many as you can give me. So she, brings out 20. Here you go. I'm like, oh, thank God, because I was down to 2 earlier today. I'd used a bunch of them. I'm like, oh my God, I'm down to 2. I got to order them. And it could be, you know, I could probably use up those 2 before I get the next shipment in, and I always need those. So I should have, or I was gonna do it last week, but you know, I was really busy listing and it paid off. So it was worth the sacrifice. But I'm sure I really should have buckled down and made myself order them by like last Friday, so I'd have stuff on the way, because I also need those padded ones. And I got to do my eBay order. Anyways, okay, so that's shipping. All right. Inside the box, legal flat rate. Definitely stock up on those. Okay, Achey Tech talk. Okay. Apparently, this is a problem for Windows 10. And I don't know if it makes a difference if you're on like a regular tower PC or a laptop, but all of the information I found was indicating that it's a Windows 10 problem. And the problem is, or glitch, is that when Windows does like an update, and they do like those automatic updates where they're like shut down, or I got a notice, I'm working away, trying to get stuff listed, and a notice comes up, should we shut down now or wait 15 minutes and to do an update? And I'm like, wait the 15 minutes. And the next thing I know, you know, that 15 minutes is up, and they didn't even warn me. The thing just shut down, and I was out of commission on my main computer. I'm like, dang it, thank God for the backup. And the backup computer wasn't updating, so at least I could move over to it. But it was still, you know, just an adjustment period. And then the computer, well, there was other things too. Like I had photos. I have photos stored on the computer that I needed, so I couldn't get listing done. I could get like the pre-listing done, but I couldn't like put the photos in. So that was like, that's why you want to use Windows or Google Photos. But here's the problem. They did something to my computer, and I can't access Google Photos on my other computer when I'm in eBay anymore. And I can't figure out how to make that work. So that's going to be, once I get that figured out, that's going to be a topic. So what happened is, it's going through doing the updating, and like an hour later, I'm like, it's like a black screen with like the little circles going around and around and around and around. And then another half an hour, it's still doing the same thing. And then another 15 minutes, still doing the same thing. I think it went up to about 2 hours, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. So I looked up on my other computer, like, what to do about that. Like, do I just turn the computer off and hope for the best, or what do I do? So the first thing that pops up is like a forum, and the first suggestion was to remove any USBs. And I had 2 USBs in the computer. I had the USB for my camera and the USB for my keyboard. And so I just took them out. And it started going through again. And it was like, you're at 87%. It was like it got stuck at 87% complete. And as soon as I took them out, it started to go through. And then like 15 minutes later, it was done finally. So if you have Windows 10 and you get stuck on that, if they do one of those updates and it gets stuck on the black screen with the little white dots going around, pull out any USB things that you have plugged into your computer. And that might work for all kinds of things that you're getting glitches on, and that's an easy thing to try. So yeah. So I was real excited. I was amazed that that worked. There was something else that, oh yeah, I wanted to be able, I have like a CD player on my computer, and apparently what I found out is that if you've updated your old computer that has a CD player to Windows 10, I want to go back to Windows 7. And I have another computer with Windows 7. I wonder, I just want to go down and say, can you put Windows 7 on? Anyways, And Windows 7 was great. I have a computer with Windows 7, and they're like, you could update it. I'm like, no, no, I don't want to update. I want to put that computer back up. My Windows 7, it has all kinds of bells and whistles on it. So, but you can't play DVDs because it doesn't have a media player or something. But there's something you can get, apparently, to make it so you can use this CD player. And mine has a CD burner too. So I need to get something installed, like a program or application. I don't know what. And so I got to go talk to the computer guys. And I tried looking it up, and I just know that I don't understand. I don't understand what's going on. All I know is that there's something you got to do. And so I'm like, this is obviously not a job for, I mean, I guess I should look into it a little bit more, but that'll be something that I will report on. CD player, Windows 10. And what was the other thing that I said I wanted to report on later? Shoot. Well, I'll watch the video and I'll make a note of it. Okay, okay, we're under an hour. So then, here's a new thing I've been doing. So this is, and now for something completely different. I'm such a good transitioner. I want to talk about Lending Club. If you haven't heard of Lending Club or what's called peer-to-peer lending, I really like it. Now, you might not feel comfortable with it, or you might not like it, and that's fine. If you already know what it is and you've already determined you don't even want to go there, just, go to the next video. But if you don't know about Lending Club, I love it because it's a way of investing your money, and you're investing in individual people, and you can pick the people that you're investing in, and I feel like it's more of an interactive type of investment. Now, if you don't really know anything about investing, even if you don't know anything about investing, I think it's a good place to start because it's easier to understand, in my opinion. But what it is, peer-to-peer lending, is you go on Lending Club, and basically you would be like, okay, I want to move. You would quote unquote give them, or you would open an account, and you would put maybe $1,000 in there, or $500, or more, whatever, or less. I started with $25 because I didn't have any money, and I'm like, well, I could put $25 in. I'm like, so my plan is to just put $25 a month in until I get to a point where I've got all of that stupid debt paid off that I accrued over the summer, and then I just want to get my feet wet with it and just understand how to use the system and all that stuff. But and you go on there and you can pick people that are asking for loans, and sometimes people are asking for loans for businesses, or they're asking for loans for loan consolidation, or various different things, and then you make the interest. So you're like the bank, but you're not necessarily giving one person a bunch of money. It's like group lending, so they'll get like 100 people are all giving them $50 for their loan, or whatever if they want $10,000, if they can get 100 people to each give them $50 or something, then they get the loan. So it's kind of cool too, like if you need a loan. And that's actually, and I cannot remember, I got to go back in and look at my records, but I started to look into it because there was a video, and I am so sorry. When I wrote down that I was going to talk about this, I should have been more prepared. But there was a video, a really great interview with this really great guy, and his wife, I think, was in the interview shortly, but it was mostly him. But him and his wife lost their jobs, and they had already sort of been dabbling in eBay, so they just went full on eBay, and then all of a sudden, like, their car died or something, and they were having trouble getting past just paying their monthly bills, and they had 2 kids, and and being able to source more stuff to get over like that hump of only making so much money a month. And he wanted to really be able to source more. And he was pretty good at sourcing, and I mean, they just were committed. And so he got like a peer-to-peer PayPal loan through PayPal, not through Lending Club, but through PayPal. PayPal does this too. So that's how I learned about this. And I don't know how to be a peer-to-peer lender through PayPal. And I don't know if Lending Club is somehow hooked up with PayPal. But I think he got a loan. I think it works different. The way he talked about it is different than Lending Club. It sounds different to me. And I would like to talk about that more as I find out more information. But I would like to get into, in addition to private labeling, I would like to get into more of this Lending Club type investing. And one of the advantages to the Lending Club investing is, again, you know, it's like really easy to understand, and you get better returns than you do on, definitely, if you just have it sitting in the bank. And it's separate from the securities market. The securities market, as in the stock market, mutual funds and stocks, and what other kinds of, I guess, commodities and things like that. I don't know if commodities is technically considered securities, but I feel like that stuff, and I had a boyfriend that was like full on into that business. He was like a Mac Daddy stockbroker, which they're not technically supposed to be called stockbrokers anymore. But he was educated. He had like a master's degree in finance and was like, you know, working for the big firms and making tons of money. And then, of course, the market crashed and everything died. And it was really hard for him. But I mean, he was still committed to his craft, and he's still doing that. And I'm sure I haven't, you know, he's my ex-boyfriend, and I haven't talked to him in 3 years, but I really hope he's doing a lot better than he was. But he was still doing okay, even when it wasn't that good. But it was pretty tough. So, I mean, he was making enough to, like, survive. But he wasn't, you know, making like what kind of like top of the line BMW am I going to buy next year kind of money, which is where he was before. He'd be like, let's see, next year I'll get this top of the line car, and the year after that I'll get that other top of the line car. You know, like that was his one thing that he specifically liked. Like a lot of guys like to spend a lot of money on golf, or they might spend a lot of money on vacations or whatever, and his thing was he just really liked to have a nice car. And I'm like, yeah, you don't spend money on anything, so like you should have a nice car. I mean, you've worked hard to, I mean, not that he needed me to tell him, but I wasn't never critical because he spent like ridiculous amounts of money on cars. But every time we went out, I'm like, if you got the money, this is a nice car. Yeah. Yeah, he had what was it, a 735 IL or something BMW when it was like new. I loved that car. And then he got the next year, whatever, like a couple years later, he got like the next top of the line BMW, or like up there. Maybe it wasn't the top, but it was like up there. And that was nice too. And I can't remember what it was called, like what the number on it was. But that I think it was 735 IL. Oh, and when I was looking for cars, I found some. And I'm like, oh my God, those are good prices. But apparently, you know, they're pretty pricey to fix. But I got to tell you, in a couple years, I might buy one. That's how much I love that car. I just love that car. And he had some other high-end cars that were really nice. But I just love that 735 BMW IL. And it had amazing, what do you call it, foot space, you know, leg room in the back seat. And it had, I loved the, if you're a mother, it's a great mother car. If you want to drive a nice car, but something that's mother friendly, get the 7, whatever it is, the BMW. Look at those BMWs. The 735, like I think it's 735. I gotta look. IL. And the seatbelt hooks on the door where the door is. So if you've got a kid, you can just go and there's a seatbelt right there. You're not like all leaning over going. Well, multiple kids. If you have one kid, it's probably sitting in the middle, so you're screwed either way. But if you've got 4 kids in the car, at least 2 of the kids have like really handy seatbelts. I'm like, oh my god, I love these seatbelts. And we met when my kids were real little, and I'm like, I just absolutely loved that car. There was some other stuff about it. I just loved it. And it's more like a 90s style because it was like an early 2000s car. In fact, it might have even been late 90s. When did I meet him? I met him in 2001. So it was at the oldest, it was probably like a 99 or a 2000. So that's what year that car was. Anyway, so you can pick them up really cheap now, and they're really nice cars. And apparently they're gas guzzlers, and they're expensive to fix, but freaking nice ass car. And I think they were like $80,000 or something ridiculous like that when they were new. So yeah, I'm probably gonna get one one of these days. Although I haven't looked into how good of quality they are, like as far as do they break down left and right, or are they basically pretty good quality? And again, you could get a dud or one that wasn't taken care of, and God knows. But I feel like I'm a used car person, and I have a really good mechanic that works on those kind of cars that is really awesome, and so I am not afraid. Or instead of, I would rather take the chance of having an older car like that that's really nice, and maybe go 2 years with just having maybe a few small things go wrong, get new tires, keep up with the oil changes, maybe some new windshield wipers and a headlight or something. You know what I mean? Like, and because I've had plenty of older cars where it's like for 2 years there was practically nothing went wrong with it, and it's nice to not have a car payment. So for 2 years you got a car that just keeps on going, and no car payment, and they're really cheap on. They're a lot cheaper on insurance, obviously, and or I mean, if you don't know, like a lot cheaper, and a lot cheaper on the annual tags. And so it's just, and I know none of that stuff is really like the end of the world, but it's just kind of nice to not have that. I just feel like insurance and tags is like a waste of money. Like, it's just throwing money away. So, but again, you could all of a sudden be stuck with like a $5,000 bill if it breaks down. Or you need to decide to get a new car and go like, do I really want to fix this car? So I guess if I'm going to buy one of those cars, I'm probably going to have like a $5,000 emergency fix-it fund if something goes wrong or something. I'll talk to my mechanic and see if he thinks. Typically, if any one thing breaks down, it could cost as much as $3,000 or $1,500 at any one time. But I think that's why, like, you could have two $1,500 repairs in a year. So there you're at $3,000, and then you still want to have another couple thousand in case, like, oh my God, and I'm going to need new tires next month. So, yeah, if I got one of those cars, I would probably want to do it when I have a good $5,000 set aside. Now, the car that I have now, it's actually a Mercedes, and I've never had more than like $1,200 set aside for that car, and I've used up all that money for other things. But my plan has been to always have at least $2,000 set aside for that car. And that was the same with my old crappy Kia Optima. Not the nice new one, but the older crappy one from '06. It's like an old crappy one. My Mercedes costs the same as my Kia Optima. Every time I go in, actually, it's cheaper. There's a few things like the battery is a little teeny tiny more expensive, but it's not like ridiculously more expensive. And but yeah, I mean, I've gone in for a few repairs, and it's like, well, if I'd have had this same problem on my Kia, they would have wanted to charge me the same freaking amount of money. Like, I don't know what the hell everybody's all over. I think it's an urban myth that a lot of these cars that are expensive to fix are expensive to fix, especially maybe the older ones. I think they're more like the 90s, the expensive 90s vehicles aren't as expensive to fix as your typical everyday average 2000 vehicle. But I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying that's my experience with my current Mercedes and my old Kia Optima. Is my Mercedes it doesn't seem like it's that much more expensive. And the thing like fixes itself. Like I'll be like, oh my god, I'm having this problem. I'll call up my mechanic all panicky, and he's like, well, that could be this, and maybe bring it in next week. But it's still like going, and then all of a sudden it like fixes itself. I'm loving my Mercedes. So, and it's funny too because when I moved home, my office back to the house, I'm telling you, my transmission was slipping, and I had changed the fluid and checked the fluid, and they're like, oh yeah, you're low, and I'm like, oh my god, I hope I saved it in time, but I didn't know, you know what I mean? And everybody's like, it's hard to say, but it was slipping like, every time I get in it like 5 or 6 times or more, depending on how long I was driving, and I was really freaking out. And so then after I got the fluids changed, it was slipping a little less, and then I checked the fluids a couple times since then, and it's been fine for the most part, and now it's more like every 1 in 10 times that I drive, it'll slip. So it still makes me nervous, but it's not slipping all the time anymore. So I'm really hopeful that I can get at least a couple more years before the transmission goes out in that thing. And I will probably, unless I'm ready to buy that BMW 735iL, I will probably keep my Mercedes because it's cute as hell and I love it. It's really cute. And anyways, but there's some things about it I don't like. Like it's a 4-banger and it's really slow. Like it does like 0 to 25 in 60 seconds. It's very slow, and I'm not really like a fast zippy driver, but sometimes it's just I don't know, you want a car that goes. But it's a nice looking vehicle. It's really nice looking, and anyway, so I really like it for that fact, and it'll be really nice when I get the AC fixed. But and I like the fact that it's not ridiculous to fix it either. Like it's not that bad. Although my mechanic said that it could be up to $3,500 for a new transmission on that, and that would be all new. And other people have said that it could be, and I haven't checked it out officially, but it could be like $1,500 or something like that if you went with like a used tranny. So I don't know. I was thinking it would be really fun to drive that thing to 1,000,000 miles and then donate it to the Mercedes Museum, like just for fun. And it still would probably be cheaper than buying a new car over the time. Like, and then I could do like a whole YouTube saga about it. Anyway, so that's my all of my stuff about my completely different topics, and now for something completely different is done, and we are gonna wrap it up because we're coming up on we're almost to 1:15, an hour and 15. Okay, well, thanks so much for tuning in, and I hope that you got something out of this video. And so good luck, and be sure to post any links to any of your videos down below. I am happy to help promote other people's other YouTube people that make videos. God, I'm just such an eloquent speaker. Anyways, I think I'm done. Okay, take care. Bye.